The browser. It's the gateway to your world. Work, school, shopping, entertainment, it's all in that one window with 10,000 tabs, if you're anything like I am. But what happens when someone decides to completely reimagine it? Well, that's Arc Browser, along with many others out there, but today we're talking about the bold, sleek, and hyped as future of the internet, Arc Browser. But is it genius? Or just over-designed? Hey, it's Caitlin and welcome back to GBRLIFE Reviews, where I test the tools, apps, and platforms so you don't waste your time or your money. So is Arc Browser the reinvention we've all been waiting for? Or just another flashy download that you'll regret later with a ton of little documents that you end up having to go and delete inside of the trash bin and go look through your computer and have to delete all that stuff? Just me? Well, either way, let's find out right after my quick intro while you like and subscribe.
Welcome to GBRLIFE. We'll talk big love, everything in the meat. So bring your bold, your bite, your bright. You're home now, babe. This is GBRLIFE. Ooh, this is GBRLIFE.
Arc Browser ditches the classic tab bar and it replaces it with a vertical sidebar. Is this new and insanely amazing? Not necessarily. There's a lot of other browsers out there that are doing the same thing. But in this case with Arc Browser, you're getting workspaces to separate projects, split screen browsing, and unique features like easels for saving and sharing visual notes. It's sleek, modern, and intentionally different from other Chrome-style browsers. So let's talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. First, of course, is what I liked. And it's that fresh design. The sidebar layout does make multitasking feel cleaner. And then there's the customization. You can do workspaces, themes, and you can create extras like I mentioned, easels, which feel more flexible. And then you have the polished feel. With Arc, it looks like it was designed in a way for the future, not for the past. In other words, we're not going backwards in time like some of the other browsers out there. You do feel like they are thinking about going forward and trying to make it more 2030, 2090. I don't know. Technology's going so fast right now. It could actually just be the 2025 thing. But then there are things I didn't like, of course. Arc is hyped as the future of browsing, but in practice, I did run into a bit of issues. My first issue, forced sign up. You can't even open Arc without creating an account. And for me, that's friction right at the start. I don't even know what you look like, what you are, anything about you, and you want me to sign up? Who are you? And then there's also the MacBook aesthetic on Windows. I am using a Windows computer when I was using this, and so this may not feel that way for Apple users, but for a PC lover, it feels like it was built for a Mac lover, and that doesn't really translate cleanly on a PC. Plus, you have confusing navigation. The layout does look sleek, but figuring out where to click is just not intuitive. Even simple actions can feel like, well, the search, for example, was jumping from the top to the middle of the screen. It took me a second to actually realize that, oh no, that's not an ad popping up. That's just it saying it wants to search. I was like, what are you doing? What is happening right now? Plus, there's broken promises on the imports. Arc is saying it's importing your data, but in reality, you have to re-sign into literally everything. And because it isn't laid out clearly, setup starts to feel messy. Plus, there's no real speed boost. For all that hype, Arc doesn't actually feel faster per se. For example, in Brave, I can write GBRL, and then by the time I even just write the L, it's already loading GBRLife. And that's because it removes all of those tracking systems and cookies and all that kind of stuff. So it loads very quickly. But in Arc, that's not the case, so it lags. If you want to see what I mean, check out my Brave browser review because it's just night and day. Plus, there's style over substance. Why style over substance, guys? We want something that works. I think that in 2025, everyone is just kind of tired of it looks pretty, but does it actually work? So I bet you're wondering, what does all of this cost? especially with a little bit more cons than pros this time. Well, here's the good news. Arc is free. There's no subscriptions, there's no upsells, at least for now. They did get your data right in the very beginning, so if they did want to sell to you, they probably could very easily. But remember, free doesn't always equal better. The real cost here, in my opinion, is your time and your energy in relearning how to browse, especially if you're a PC user and not a MacBook user. And whether that's your time, it depends on how much you love customization versus how much you love simplicity. So, is Arc worth it? If you're a Mac user, Arc will probably feel natural, and the design matches Apple's aesthetic that much. So if you enjoy experimenting with new workflows, I think you'll find it exciting and probably is worth it for you. But if you're a Windows user, Arc may make you feel a little bit more frustrated more than it actually helps. And the design feels Apple first, like I keep saying. Navigation is confusing, imports don't deliver, and performance don't match the hype. So choose Arc if you love customization and don't mind complexity, if you want to play with new layouts and creative tools, and if you're on Mac and like Apple-style design. But stick with your current browser if you just want speed and simplicity, and you don't want to relearn basic actions like search or imports, and you value performance over aesthetics. And that's the very reason why, when it comes to the GBRLIFE rating, we are finally here. Yeah, GBRLIFE rating time. We have the GBRLIFE rating of a 2.5 out of 5. I know, it's not a big one. And look, I'm not hating on Arc, even though it may sound like I'm not the biggest fan, but that's the thing. I'm not a fan. That doesn't mean you aren't. Because Arc browser is still bold and ambitious. It's just, to me, not practical for everyday users. It is beautiful to look at, but it's kind of clunky to use, and it doesn't deliver on speed, in my opinion. For me, it's more hype than help. So, would you switch to a browser that reinvents how you use the internet? Or are you sticking with something more reliable like Brave or Opera? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for this week's review, but if you want more like this, don't forget to check out the GBRLIFE Reviews Unfiltered Opinions playlist. And while you're at it, like and subscribe to GBRLIFE so you never miss another review. And if you're interested in another browser option, check out my review from last week on Brave, the browser that makes your privacy their priority. The link to watch should be just above me right now, or it'll be at the end of the video. I always add it at the end. Either way, with all of my content on GBRLIFE.com and my fabulous Mama Koala clothing line, you don't have to be without GBRLIFE in your life. See you next week. Bye.
Not your bid